Suresh Kumar is Assistant Secretary for Trade Promotion and Director General of the U.S. and Foreign Commercial Service of the U.S. Department of Commerce. The Assistant Secretary is in Hong Kong to promote President Barack Obama's National Export Initiative, which sets out to double U.S. exports over the next 5 years. While here, Mr. Kumar will also sign a cooperation agreement with the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, launching the Pacific Bridge Initiative. The PBI responds to the U.S. National Export Initiative by encouraging U.S. firms to tap Asian markets through Hong Kong. Suresh Kumar, thank you very much for joining us. First, if you could tell us a little bit about the Pacific Bridge Initiative and why it's important for the U.S. and for Hong Kong.
You know, it's a perfect example of a win-win situation. Hong Kong is blessed. Where it is located, it's really the gateway to Asia in many ways. And when you look at a gateway, naturally, a bridging out of that gateway is what trade is all about. So American companies, exporters coming into this market, not only see Hong Kong, you can never miss the beauty of Hong Kong, but see markets beyond. And that's precisely where the Bridge Initiative comes in.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it fits in then with the National Export Initiative?
As you well know, the National Export Initiative is a call from the President with two specific goals. The first one is to double U.S. exports over 5 years. It is 15% compounded annual growth rate. And the second attendant one is a goal of supporting 2 million well-paying jobs not in the United States, and through the trade that we create, many more jobs with partners with whom we have the trade. So those are the objectives. When you look at how do you execute those, is where the Pacific Bridge Initiative fits in. And execution literally leads to identifying the right portals, the right gateways, and moving beyond. So we see in the execution of this, it is very essential to work with collaborating partners, collaborators, whether they are different governments or they are in the private or the public sector. And in Hong Kong, we found a partner which is just perfect. The goals of this body are incredibly aligned, which is really to make Hong Kong a hub and increase business and exports going through Hong Kong. Much comes into Hong Kong, but much more goes out. So that's where the connection and the bridge really works.
Well, how do you see this being a win-win scenario, not only for companies from the U.S. and Hong Kong, but also for those from the Chinese mainland?
You know, I've just come back from China. I spent about a week in China. We saw the tremendous development and the continued development of China. And all that does is open up more and more opportunities for American business. So it's almost like a kid in a candy store as I look back and say, how much more we can do with China. That said, let's look at both China and Hong Kong. Their growth rates over the last 8 months have been almost identical. Hong Kong, we have a 28.4% growth rate. China trade is a little above that, 28.8%. And these augur well. They demonstrate with current business practices. As you peel this further and you look at different industries, that's when you see the connection of what Hong Kong could be. There is familiarity with American ways of doing business. Language familiarity exists in Hong Kong, and culturally we are aligned. If that proves to be the case, American enterprises and businesses will find it easier to engage with distribution houses, trading houses in Hong Kong, which could then provide the gateway. It is not lost on me as we talk goods and services. This is the services industry. This is where things happen in the services context. You have the infrastructure for financial services, you have the infrastructure for logistics, and certainly a trading flair which goes with it. All those are components which American businesses need and require as they constructively, no pun intended, engage in China.
What about raising awareness about those advantages and opportunities? What can the U.S. Commercial Service do, for example, to boost that awareness among American companies?
The United States Foreign Commercial Service, which I'm privileged to lead, has 1,500 people worldwide. 1,100 of them are outside the United States. They are with our trading partner countries. And these are the folks who not only look at opportunities, but work with American companies to connect them to the businesses where joint ventures could take place and consummate in commercial transactions. So I think we do a great job in representing what America has to offer while understanding what the countries need. In terms of publicity, in terms of promotion, in terms of making even more people aware of what we do, that's where a relationship such as the one we're going to embark with in Hong Kong can help. You have your own trade promotion arm here. You're constantly involved with the Chinese mainland. You have a portal which will be dedicated to what we want to do. In addition, you have your own media entity. So we are hoping that our partnership goes well beyond what is just in the letter of the law to really make use and leverage the facilities, including this one, media availability, for American companies as also for US and FCS commercial activities, and make it better known not only to traders and businesses within China and Hong Kong, but certainly even to the American enterprise. Really, if you look at it, America has 3 million companies. Just about 1% of the 3 million actually export. That's 280,000. Of the 280,000, 58% export to only one country. So we are looking at a huge potential.
Well, one of the first collaborations under the PBI was the recent Eco Expo Asia. What would you like to see happening in this region as well as in the US to increase opportunities in green technology?
You know, green is a catch-all phrase, and I'm pleased to talk to you in terms of its different elements. Look around you. Look at the construction in Hong Kong. And I look back and say, we have worldwide the best practices related to green building used in construction, services-wise, regulatory norm-wise, and the lead technology and the lead practices which we have are cutting edge. So America, in a technology sense, and how to execute for a cleaner, greener, healthier, and a better planet, we have that side of things to offer. I've just come out from India, where we led a renewable energy conference, because the World Renewable Energy Conference this year was in Delhi. And there were 203 American companies which accompanied me to that conference, including 36 companies who exhibited in that space. That was terrific, and it culminated with signing of 11 deals. So I think green, renewable is the right thing to do, not only in Hong Kong with the extent of construction which you're looking at, but certainly in China, because when I met them, we were talking solar, we were talking wind, and of course, we were talking nuclear.
The demand for energy in this region is so enormous. How does energy play into that? You get a little more specifics on what can American companies do and Hong Kong companies cooperate on that demand for energy.
The only constraint to Asian growth I see is energy and secondarily education. Fortunately, American enterprise has strengths, technologies, products, and services just in those two areas. So that's where the collaboration can immediately win. But let's talk specific. On a broad scale, American companies are engaged in nuclear energy. That's one area which allows you to provide energy of a scale which several of these countries require, certainly in the case of China and the Indias of the world. The second stuff, fossil fuel reduction. Fossil fuel related stuffs need to be reduced, and clean coal is a major area of engagement. And America has the clean coal technologies which bigger enterprises, bigger countries, and smaller countries could benefit from. But it behooves all of us to engage even beyond into solar, wind, and those of us who have hydro resources into those three areas.
Now, the PBI agreement specifies about 9 target industries, and among them, we've discussed already environmental technology, you've mentioned education and training, but there's also creative industries mentioned in there. What sectors do you think have the best potential for generating some exports and some cooperation?
Well, let's talk to the industry you talked about. I believe we had a very, very exciting and very productive engagement in the context of the Film Mart fair which was put together. It did bring about 30 different deals coming as a consequence of that. But most importantly, as you and I both know, American film, American music, and much of what you see in American TV shows have a great demand and continue to have a demand in Asia. So there is a desire to have Americana, if you may, coming into this place. But importantly, with some restrictions placed in some countries which call for local production content. So co-production of programs, partially or fully, provide a way to access these markets and serve the needs of all partner countries, as also what America has to offer.